Guys, it's happening. It's happening, and it's also happening. I literally checked my phone. I have this guy. I get notifications when he tweets out, and for a good reason now, because right Reptar, he tweeted out he's the lead designer of like I don't even know. You know what? I can't even focus right now. I haven't read this yet. I wanted to make a video as my first reaction, so let's do this. Since we're doing the hashtag life of a patch thing where they like are more open with the community on how they balance champions, here's the Akali thing I began working on this week, including images of the internal email I sent detailing the work, typos and all. Number one, current balance metrics. Number two, design consideration. Number three, changes. Nothing is final. This isn't tuned. He also said, before I go into the pictures, this is a pretty standard starting point the balance team takes on small/medium scoped work on. We probably won't end up shipping something that looks like this because iteration is an expected part of the process. So obviously there's multiple steps, and this is just the first one. No targeted ship date yet. Definitely not 9 point. Oh, it's okay. It's okay because I have Kiana now, my new bae. Anyways, all right, we're gonna go into this. So right now, I don't even know. This is probably some Riot mathematician stuff. They're just basically saying how her average play/win rate is low. Her skilled win rate is still low. Her pro presence is way too high. This essentially, it's the Akali problem. You know what I mean? She's terrible in solo queue until you're super good at her, and then she's like below average at this point. In pro play, she's still good because her true stealth and her just disruption in team fights. So she's good in pro play, terrible in ranked. It's just the lines are just so skewed that she's a terrible champion. So with that in mind, let's go into this. Potentially a little room for some power, but not a ton given her status in Elite and Pro. The changes are aimed at smoothing out some of the passive game and limiting her slipperiness, and then hopefully putting some power into her spells, mostly through ratio damage. I can speculate, but I'm just going to go straight into this changes. Change summary. Passive movement speed no longer has a facing element, whatever that means, but it doesn't scale to such high values. These are terms I don't understand. I am testing pushing the duration as low as possible such that the Akali player does not regularly get stuck in a negative passive loop where she can't realistically consume it, but its duration prevents her from beginning a new sequence. I get that. So sometimes when you're playing Akali, you have to it feels really awkward because you're you Q them, you back out, you hit them with the passive proc, and then you Q them again. But it's like if they're just if you're backing up and then they start running the other way, it's like shit. Well, now I have to go towards him, and then they end up just turning around. It's super awkward. I think maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know. Passive damage now has less oomph to it as the game goes on relative to live. The hope is that it can continue to be a core part of her play experience as the game progresses, but that her success is more highly defined by her ability to do this well in the early game than it is the late game, as more and more play considerations are added to the mix. More enemies in a combat scenario, more places on the map to be, more team considerations to make. Interesting. I don't know what that means at all. Q's cooldown is up pretty significantly. My hope in doing this is that it allows players to compartmentalize their actions. So Q's cooldown is up pretty significantly? Okay. My hope... Sorry, I'm freaking out, guys. My hope in doing this is that it allows players to compartmentalize their actions into more of a spell is greater than passive game. It's greater than next spell, passive game, next spell type of thing. And my hypothesis is that the extremely low Q cooldown makes the current mental calculations behind this process incredibly daunting. That's the fun of her. Whatever. W has a flat cooldown, a step towards achieving less slipperiness in the late game specifically. Additionally, players that max E second instead of W leave a lot of performance on the table, so bringing these two a little closer could make this decision less punishing to our outcomes. I don't know what that means. E has some damage returning and a new AP ratio. E has some damage returning and a new AP ratio. All right, cool. That sounds good to me. The hope is to take some of the raw damage output of a perfectly optimized passive that has been pulled and put that on a more standard spell outcome. It also no longer hits W, again, towards making the tolerable less slipperiness. I respect those changes. I do. I think those are pretty good. They're probably going to nerf her passive a good amount, but at the same time increase her E a lot. R1 is now targeted. Oh, that's kind of cool, but also, I mean, obviously it's not as good, but it's kind of like they're bringing back the old Akali. I'm okay with it. Just please make her decent again. And its speed and distance have been increased a bit to accommodate this change. Guys, I'm sorry. This is probably the most scuffed commentary video I'll ever do. I just got back from rock climbing. I'm tired. I had to make a video on this the second I got it. Damage has been retuned a tiny bit to emphasize ratio damage. Damage has been retuned a tiny bit to emphasize ratio. It's getting a higher ratio, less base damage is essentially what they're saying. As there is some thinking that she does not currently have enough gold income / snowball requirement in order to maintain a high damage threat in the late game. I can see that for sure. Her R2 is just broken no matter what. Its recast timer is currently also down. Oh, yes! My feeling is that it's so abnormally long that it leaves me confused when interacting with the spell, but the change doesn't currently seem critical. Yes, Mr. Reptar. It totally is way too long. R1, take a nap, Morgana cues you, go to bed, wake up the next day, and then your R2 comes up if you're lucky. I don't think that the R1 implementation high quality at the moment. So if you do play it and have suggestions, I'm very open to that. Damn it. That means that there's a good chance they just throw it away. That actually kind of sucks to hear. But I mean, we'll have to see. Next picture. Oh, okay. Here we go. Assassin's Mark removed. Movement speed away from the circle center and towards. So no more movement speed. New. Triggering any of the events of Akali's passive, damaging a champion with a spell, leaving the circle, spend the attack, grants Akali movement speed in all directions for 3 seconds. Oh, okay. So any spell that makes the circle appear, anytime you leave the circle. Oh god. Turn off the music. No music. No music. No music. So anything you do involving your passive, throwing your spell to get the circle, hitting them, or even just leaving the circle to activate it. Circle duration 4 seconds to 3 seconds. That's fair. Attack buff duration goes down a second too. The damage 39 to 180 to. Oh wow, it's purely ratio based now, but you get movement speed too. And it's going down from scaling movement speed to 40%. So she's going to be she's going to be all over the place because she's essentially going to have a permanent speed buff because it's 3 seconds anytime you do anything revolving your passive. So pretty much you're always going to be at that 40% movement speed buff. Oh shit. Q is down. Q is going from 1.5 to 4 seconds. Monk ass. Twilight Shroud. Cooldown goes from 25 to 20 seconds. Energy restoration is going to be a flat middle. So they're actually so everything is just essentially in the middle at all points. So it doesn't scale that well anymore. So you're not going to be, I don't think they're going to reward you for maxing W as they were saying. So I think you're essentially, Riot's saying, hey, listen, buddy, you're maxing Q and then you're maxing E. Because let's look at these changes. Missile damage, 70 to 210. 50 to 150, but you now have an AP ratio 40%. That's actually really good, and the flat damage isn't so bad. Dash damage 50 to 170 is now going to be 50 to 150, but it has a 40% AP ratio. Dude, 2 AP ratios, you're going to do so much more damage to a single target. You can't hit your E or your Shroud with it. That's okay. That's such a niche, nonsensical part of her kit anyways. I don't really care about that. Oh god, we're getting late into this video already. Perfect execution are first dash damage 85 to 215, 80 to 160. Second dash damage 85 to 215, 80 to 160 with a 20% AP ratio. So it's pretty close, right? I'm not a mathematician. I'm not good with numbers. But first cast targeting free target AoE. Now goes free targeted single target recast timer 2.5 to 1 second. Oh my god, I can't wait to use. Dude, I've been hoping for this last change, the recast timer, for so long. Guys, that's it. Guys, that's it. That's it for this video. I'm uploading it right now to my gaming channel, so you'll be watching it. Please like the video, share, tell all your Akali main friends, tell all your 80 carries that hate Akali, and we're resting for a few days because Akali might be back. We'll see. I'm not gonna get too excited yet because Riot loves to kill Akali every month or two, every other patch. All right, guys, have a good day. Peace. I'm sorry for the scuff commentary.